Russia steps up aerial strike on Ukraine. Trudeau's government suffers blow as key ally withdraws support. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm SAHIH and you are watching World Today. Russia has stepped up its aerial attack on Ukraine. It struck the city of Lviv in western Ukraine on Wednesday, killing 7 people, including children, and damaging historical buildings in a rare attack hundreds of kilometers from the front line. The strike came as several Ukrainian ministers, including top diplomat Dmytro Kuleba, offered their resignations. Russia launched an unprecedented cross-border offensive into Russia's Kursk region last month. Among the dead in Lviv were 4 people from one family, a woman and her 3 daughters, leaving their father as the only immediate survivor. The city's mayor said the missile attack also wounded 64 people and damaged schools and medical facilities, as well as buildings in Lviv's historic center. The western city, whose old town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is close to the border with Poland and is sheltering thousands displaced by over 2 years of war. It had largely been spared the intense strikes that have rocked cities further east. The strike came a day after Russian missile attack killed 53 people in the central city of Poltava, one of the deadliest single strikes of the invasion. United Nations Nuclear Agency Chief Rafael Grossi, who visited the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in southeast Ukraine on Wednesday, said the situation there was very fragile. Grossi, who is director of the International Atomic Energy Agency (IAEA), and his team inspected one of the cooling towers of the plant that caught fire last month. Analysts say an explosion at the Zaporizhzhia plant would produce radiation and likely trigger panic, but the radiation risk beyond the immediate blast area would be relatively low and nothing like the scale of the 1986 Chernobyl disaster.
Of course, the situation is not easy, so not everything is perfect, but we are really, in my opinion, we are stabilizing the situation. We are looking into some technical issues. We are going to be doing that today. So there is a work which is important.
The Zaporizhzhia plant, Europe's largest nuclear facility, fell to Russian troops soon after Moscow's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022 and is not operating now. Both sides have frequently accused each other of shelling it. Moscow and Kiev both denied the accusations. The United States indicted 2 employees of Russia's RT and imposed sanctions on top editors of the state-funded news outlet on Wednesday, accusing them of seeking to influence the 2024 U.S. presidential election. Attorney General Merrick Garland also announced the seizure of 32 internet domains that were part of an alleged campaign to secure Russia's preferred outcome, which U.S. officials have said would be Donald Trump winning the November vote. Garland said Washington will aggressively countering and disrupting attempts by Russia, Iran, China or any other foreign malign actor to interfere with the November elections.
The Justice Department's message is clear. We have no tolerance for attempts by authoritarian regimes to exploit our democratic system of government.
The 10 individuals and 2 entities sanctioned by the Treasury Department include RT Editor-in-Chief Margarita Simonyan and her deputy Elizaveta Brodskaya. Simonyan was a central figure in Russian government malign influence efforts, while Brodskaya reported to Russian President Vladimir Putin and other government officials. Garland said 2 Russia-based RT employees, Kostian Kalashnikov, 31, and Elena Afanasavia, 27, have been inducted in New York for money laundering and violating the Foreign Agents Registration Act. They are accused of funneling $10 million to a Tennessee-based company that used social media influencers to create and distribute content to U.S. audiences with hidden Russian government messaging. RT, in a reaction on its Telegram channel, dismissed the U.S. allegations, calling them overused cliches. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau suffered an unexpected blow on Wednesday when the small political party helping keep his minority Liberal government in power withdrew its automatic support, forcing him to strike new alliances to govern. Dismissing talk of early elections after the left-leaning New Democratic Party pulled its backing, Trudeau vowed to continue governing and pushing through social programs. But the move leaves him reliant on support from other opposition legislators to pass budgets and survive confident votes. In a video, NDP leader Jamit Singh said he was wrapping up a deal with two men struck in 2022 and accused Trudeau of not being able to take on the opposition Conservative. Singh said the Liberals are too weak, too selfish and too devoted to corporate interests to fight for people. Polls indicate the Conservative would easily win an election that must be held by end October 2025. A statement from NDP subsequently said it would decide on an issue-by-issue basis whether to support the Liberals on confident votes or suggesting it may continue to prop up Trudeau if his fate hung in the balance. Later this year, the government is due to introduce a fiscal update and an election will be called if that is voted down by legislators. A leading anti-corruption activist called on Honduran President Xiomara Castro on Wednesday to resign after a video surfaced that appeared to show her brother-in-law negotiating campaign donations with drug traffickers over a decade ago. The video emerged a week after the leftist Castro ordered an end to an extradition treaty with the United States, which was used to take her conservative predecessor to face trial in New York, where he was convicted on charges stemming from large-scale cocaine trafficking. In a letter to Castro posted on social media, Gabriela Castellanos, the head of the National Anti-Corruption Council, argued the president should resign due to serious drug trafficking accusations brought against her family circle. She added if Castro stays on, it would undermine the rule of law and security in the Central American nation. The video clip showing ex-lawmaker Carlos Zelaya, the brother of Castro's husband, former President Manuel Zelaya, meeting in 2013 with Los Caqueros drug gang leaders were published on Tuesday by Inside Crime and US Spanish language broadcaster Univision. Castro said there was a coup plot against her and pledged to block the extradition treaty from being used to intimidate or blackmail her government. Coming up, 14-year-old student shoots and kills 4 people in school. Stay tuned. A 14-year-old gunman killed at least 4 people, including 2 students, and wounded 9 more when he opened fire at a high school in the U.S. state of Georgia on Wednesday. The shooter, also a student at the school, was taken into custody. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation said he will be charged with murder and tried as an adult. 2 teachers were also among the dead. Some in the school initially thought it was just another shooter drill referring to the controversial exercises common in U.S. schools. County Sheriff Judge Smith, the shooter, quickly realized that if he did not give up, that it would end with a shooting. The shooter quickly gave up, got on the ground before the deputy took him into custody. The shooting occurred near the town of Winder, about 70 kilometers northeast of Atlanta, the state capital. Earlier, school authorities were reported to have sent a message to parents saying they were enforcing a hard lockdown after reports of gunfire. School shootings have become a sadly regular occurrence in the United States, where about a third of adults own a firearm and regulations on purchasing even powerful military-style rifles are lax. A 4-year-old Venezuelan was killed and 3 others US-bound migrants were injured on Wednesday when a freight train they were riding atop derailed in northern Mexico. The boy's 7-year-old brother was hurt while his mother, 28 years old, lost a foot and suffered a spinal injury in the accident. The train, which was transporting a group of migrants aiming to cross into the United States, was also carrying sulfuric acid. The derailment led to a spill after around 15 cars went off the tracks. The train overturned in a desert region where migrants often climb on the roof of passing wagons. Thousands of migrants fleeing violence and poverty travel across Mexico every year, heading for the US border. While some ride atop trains, others pay people smugglers to transport them in trucks or join caravans undertaking the long journey on foot. Authorities have yet to determine the cause of the derailment. The Democratic Republic of Congo is expected to receive its first delivery of Mpox vaccine doses on Thursday. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the first batch of vaccine was donated by the European Commission's Health Emergency Preparedness and Response Authority, and the DRC government is planning to start its distribution during the weekend.
WHO is working with our partners to coordinate vaccine demands, share information on those doses available, and ensure those doses are directed to areas where they can contribute to controlling the outbreak.
The vaccine doses arrival will help to address a huge inequity that left African countries with no access to the 2 shots used in a 2022 global Mpox outbreak, while they were widely available in Europe and the United States. Washington and Brussels have pledged tens of thousands of doses of vaccine made by Bavarian Nordic and said they could be delivered soon. Manager of NASA's Commercial Crew Program, Steve Stitch, confirmed that astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams were never stranded on the International Space Station, ISS, with Starliner always available as a return vehicle. NASA officials updated the status of the Starliner spacecraft at a news conference on Wednesday. Stitch explained the astronauts have now transitioned to key roles on the ISS expedition team.
Yeah, it's interesting. We get a lot of terminology. I mean, they, you know, in my view, they were never really, they're never stuck or stranded. They always had a way to depart the space station. And to me, when somebody is stranded, there's a location where they cannot leave. And so they had Starliner as the vehicle that they could depart from for a period of time. Now the Crew 8 is their emergency return vehicle, and when Crew 9 gets there, that will be their vehicle. That will be their return vehicle for nominal and any emergencies.
ISS manager Dana Weigel emphasized that Wilmore and Williams were well prepared for extended missions due to their comprehensive training in spacewalk and robotics, adding their smooth transition to full expedition roles.
Let's see, since Butch and Sonny have been on board and they were extended, they already started participating and really helping us out on board station. They've done over 42 experiments, may actually be more than that by now. That was when I checked last week. They had over 100 hours between the two of them helping us on board with science and research. And so I would say that the change between their short duration mission and an expedition has been a lot more gradual than you might imagine.
NASA announced that the uncrewed Starliner capsule would undock no earlier than 6 September after reviewing propulsion issues from its June flight. Due to these glitches, NASA will use a SpaceX vehicle for the astronauts' return next year. The Starliner's 6-hour return journey to White Sands Space Harbour will be managed by ground teams. Despite challenges, NASA is confident in Starliner's capabilities, citing successful uncrewed landings during previous tests. Severe flash floods struck Tom Green County, Texas Tuesday, forcing multiple rescues and prompting road closures across the city. Heavy rainfall in the area has overwhelmed drainage system, causing significant street flooding, particularly in low-lying areas. In San Angelo, local emergency services, including firefighters, responded to a swift water rescue after 5 people, including a 3-year-old child, were swept away near Maximilian and Wright Road. The victims were found clinging to a tree before being rescued by emergency teams using swift water equipment. Authorities have warned residents to avoid flooded areas as urban and river flooding remain a risk, especially near the Conco River. Various businesses and government facilities, including schools, have either closed or delayed operations due to impassable roads and flood damage. Weather officials continue to monitor the situation, with additional rainfall expected throughout the day Wednesday, exacerbating already drenched roads. The scale of a massive wildfire that has been raging for 2 consecutive days and destroyed 20% of a forest outside the Brazilian capital was captured by drone footage on Wednesday. The blaze has been cloaking the city in clouds of smoke. According to local officials, the fire may have been started by arsonists. The National Forest of Brasilia, a conservation area that sprawls over 5,600 hectares of woodland, safeguards the spring that supplies 70% of the city's fresh water. The fire broke out at the peak of the dry season when vegetation is parched and high temperatures allows flames to spread fast. Firefighters have scrambled to put out the wildfire and managed to reduce its extent. The forest was cut in size by almost half in 2022 to give way to urban development by the government of far-right former President Jair Bolsonaro, who reduced environmental controls and allowed deforestation to surge in the Amazon rainforest. Last year's rain came late and were weaker than usual because a weather pattern known as El Nino was supercharged by climate change, leaving the rainforest especially vulnerable to this year's fire. Up next in sports, Harimau Malaya edges Philippines in Merdeka Tournament semi-final. Stay with us.
Melaksanakan misi, mempertahan maruah, mencipta secara setia, bertemu, mengatakan cinta dengan pasangan, memburu peluang, menentukan satu perjuangan, satu suara akan yang direncana di dada, memburu takkan keraguan, kekuatan bicara, si menembakkan sangat kenangan.
Kicking off our sports segment this afternoon, the national football team, playing without the fervent backing of the Ultras Malaya supporters, managed to edge the Philippines 2-1 and advance to the final of the 2024 Merdeka Tournament at the National Stadium in Bukit Jalil last night. The semi-final tie, which is Pau Marti Vicente's first assignment as the new national head coach, saw the Philippines drawing first blood through an own goal by national defender Muhammad Feroz Baharuddin in the 27th minute. However, the Harimau Malaya managed to check into the final courtesy of a clinical finish by midfielder Muhammad Shamir Kutiaba late in the first half and a penalty conversion by replacement winger Muhammad Safawi Rashid after the break. The win sees Vicente follows in the footsteps of his former boss Kim Pangon, who also guided the team to victory over the Philippines in his first assignment in March 2022. In Sunday's final, Malaysia will face Lebanon, who defeated defending champions Tajikistan 1-0 in the other semi-final. Meanwhile, national team head coach Pau Marti Vicente believes that Malaysia were the strongest side and deserved to advance to the final. He acknowledged that the Philippines presented a tough challenge as they pushed his side to work diligently for victory.
I think we deserve the result. Maybe at the end of the game, last 10 minutes, we really suffer. But I think Philippines really strong team, very good players, physical. And I think this makes us, of course, need to work very hard to get the result at the end.
Muhammad Shamir Kutiaba, the man of the match, said the win would not have been possible without the hard work his teammates and the coaching staff put in during training sessions.
I think I need to sacrifice more for the team, to run more. With the ball, I need to be more responsible so that we can have a good control in the middle. But personally, I think that for me, there's always time and room for improvement. So I will watch back my game and to see what are the things that I need to improve, and I hope that I can do a better game after this.
For the first time since 2003, neither Cristiano Ronaldo nor Lionel Messi have been included in the nominees for the Men's Ballon d'Or award, which were announced on Wednesday, with England's Jude Bellingham among the 30 players named. Portugal's Ronaldo, who has won the award 5 times, also failed to receive a nomination last year, while Messi, who won for a record 8th time in 2023 and has been nominated 16 times, misses out despite Argentina's Copa America win this year. Spain, winners of Euro 2024, have 6 players nominated, including 17-year-old Barcelona winger Lamine Yamal, along with Nico Williams, Alejandro Grimaldo, Dani Olmo, Rodri and Dani Carvajal, who also won the Champions League with Real Madrid. Real have a total of 7 players nominated, including Kylian Mbappe, who recently signed from Paris Saint-Germain with Bellingham, and Brazil's Vinicius Jr. among the Spanish club's other nominees. England runner-ups to Spain at Euro 2024 have 5 other nominees apart from Bellingham: Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, Cole Palmer and Phil Foden. The 2024 Ballon d'Or Awards ceremony to crown the world's best player will take place on 28 October in Paris. Moving to the 2024 Paris Paralympics, China's women dominated the first day of powerlifting at the Paris Paralympic as Guo Lingling improved her world record in the up to 45 kilogram class. Lingling, 35, took her best on the bench press from 121 kilograms in February to 123 kilograms in Paris, with Britain's Zoe Newson in second place, 14 kilograms lighter with a leading effort. Lingling's contribution in front of a vocal but half-empty Le Chapelle Arena keep the country atop the overall medal table at Paris 2024. Earlier, compatriot Gu Yi had secured a Paralympic record in the up to 41 kilogram category. Xi turns 38 in December and finally claimed the gold medal by lifting almost 3 times her weight in 119 kilograms, following 4 silvers in her previous Games appearances. The German Marcus Ramm, world record holder in the T64 long jump, secured his 4th individual Paralympic title on Wednesday at the Stade de France. Nicknamed Blade Jumper, Marcus Ramm was seen as a natural favourite to retain his title in Tokyo. It's done with a jump of 8.13 meters on his 5th attempt, ahead of the Americans Jared Wallace and Derek Lowe-Siddon. Iran's Saeed Afrouz set a world record as he won the men's javelin F43 category. Afrouz hurled the javelin 41.16 meters to break his own world record that he set in the French capital just over a year ago. Colombia's Mauricio Valencia was second, with his compatriot Diego Fernando Meneses Medina rounding out the podium. In tennis, Britain's Jack Draper beat 10th seed Alex de Minaur 6-3, 7-5, 6-2 to reach his first Grand Slam semis. Draper, the 25th seed, becomes the first British man to reach the semi-finals of the US Open since Andy Murray in 2012. Draper faced his biggest test against the Australian, who won their previous 3 meetings. However, the 22-year-old had little trouble against de Minaur as he cruised to victory in just over 2 hours to set up a semi-final meeting against either Jannik Sinner or Denis Medvedev. He sent down 11 aces in his 40 winners while forcing de Minaur to fend off 14 of 20 breakpoints. The Briton has made the semi-finals without dropping a set as he continued an impressive summer run which saw him capture his first ATP title in Stuttgart and then defeat Carlos Alcaraz at Queen's Club on the eve of Wimbledon. The British player enjoys a 1-love lead over Sinner in the pair's head-to-head, although that win at Queen's came 3 years ago. Earlier, unseeded Czech Karolina Muchova, in only her 6th tournament back after suffering a wrist injury at the 2023 US Open, beat Brazil's Beatriz Haddad Maia 6-1, 6-4 to reach the New York semi-final for a 2nd consecutive year. Muchova has yet to drop a set at the tournament, having knocked out 2-time champion Naomi Osaka and French Open and Wimbledon runner-up Jasmine Paolini on the way to her 4th Grand Slam semi-final. On Wednesday, she saved 2 break points in the opening game against 22nd seed Haddad Maia before sweeping into a comprehensive 5-love lead. Despite handing back a break in the 6th game of the 2nd set, she immediately recovered to lead 4-3. Haddad Maia, the first Brazilian woman to make the quarterfinals in New York since Mario Bueno in 1968, called for the trainer after feeling ill at 3-5 down. She won 1 more game before Muchova served out for a victory. Muchova, who returned to action in June, needed medical treatment on multiple occasions during the 2nd set but held on to dispatch the Brazilian 22nd seed in 85 minutes. Muchova, who has not dropped a set at the year's final Grand Slam, will next face 6th seed Jessica Pegula for a place in the final. In cycling, Australia's Caden Groves secured his third stage win of the Vuelta a España with a perfectly timed sprint in stage 17 on Wednesday. Groves' fellow Australian Ben O'Connor of the decathlon team held the overall race lead with a 5-second advantage on Slovenian three-time champion Primož Roglic. Czech rider Pavel Bittner and Belgium's Vito Brett came second and third in a mass sprint finish on very wet streets. Grove crossed the line in the port city of Santander, which hosted a Vuelta finish for the first time in over 20 years and a stage departure for the first time in a decade. For Grove, it was his third stage win in this year's race and 7 on the Vuelta. With Belgian Wout van Aert out of the race after suffering a painful knee injury on Tuesday, Grove is the favourite for the top sprinter's green jersey. A leading group of 4 riders followed each other in the mountains of northwestern Spain into the mostly flat final stretch. The peloton cut into the lead as they passed through the city centre and caught up with the leaders in the last kilometre. And that wraps up our bulletin this afternoon. In our top story today, Russia steps up aerial strike on Ukraine. Do join us again this evening at 8:30 p.m. on TV1 and saluran Berita RTM, or you can stream us online on RTM's Click website or mobile app. Till then, I'm SAHIH Malaysia Madani, Jiwa Merdeka. Goodbye and thank you for watching.